This is my presentation for Book in a Box. Uh, the book I read was A Unit by Ninni Holmqvist. And so for my first item, I did a garbage can. This helps represent both the author and as well as the theme of the book. Because the author, at the age of 45, she found herself being a dispensable person. And that meant that if she died, there would be no difference. The only thing that would happen would be that her close family would be sad, but there was no effect of her being gone. It also represents the theme, as the theme of the book is about dispensable people, people who have no use, and they're sent to a reserve bank unit for experiments to be run on them, as well as for them to give donations to other people who needed organs. And then for my second item, I made a camera. The camera helps represent the reserve bank units, as there were cameras placed in every single part of the units, and helped represent how the change was going to be and how the protagonist, which is Dorrit, had to adapt to the new change inside of the unit. And by the next item, it's a dog made out of Play-Doh. This dog helps represent Dorrit had to leave everything behind. She had to leave her house. She had to leave her dog. That was basically it, because that was all she had. Her dog was the most special thing to her, but she had to give it up to a family. And at many points in the book, she reflects back on her dog and thinking about it still being alive, or if it's being treated well. And it just helps to represent how Dorrit had to leave everything behind. And then for my fourth item, it's a garden. This garden helps represent how the change was between her house and the unit, as the only similarity between the two would be there being a garden, although she had a small garden in the front of her house, and there was another garden that was inside of the unit. It was placed in a specific floor where it led to outside, and inside of that place, the weather would never change. It was always sunny, which was something that was very weird. For my next item, I made an ultrasound. This helps represent the point of the book where Dorrit, she got pregnant. And the pregnancy was run as normal. She had to stay in the reserve bank units and had to have checkups and have everything, such as the ultrasounds. And this helps represent how she would not be a dispensable person, as well as her partner, as they were needed. The child would need both of their parents. But unfortunately for Dorrit, is given two options, which is either give up the baby for adoption or abortion, and she is forced to give up the baby either way by the people inside of the reserve bank unit. So she will continue to be a dispensable person and have things run on her right after giving birth. And for my next item, it's a key card. It's just that subs represents a key card that a man had given Dorrit. This man had a birthmark on his face and talked to Dorrit privately, and at that point gave her the key card. The key card was given to Dorrit after her partner had passed away, and this key card allowed Dorrit to leave the reserve bank unit, and she could live a normal life with her child. It helps represent a new path for Dorrit, as she was able to leave and given the option that she wanted to, to live with the child. My next item is a heart. This heart helps represent time passing by, as many of her friends had passed away, and at her last stages of pregnancy, she was the only one left of her friends, as everyone had died already from giving their final donation. And art helps represent as well as their donations, as it was organs that were necessary. And a heart is, for an example, one of the necessary organs that they had to give up for donations. My next item, it's a rock or stone. This helps represent the protagonist's partner. He had found this at a beach. It was the same beach that Dora used to walk her dog in, and it was the only memory that Dora had of, it's the only solid memory that Dora had of her partner. This item she gave to the people of the Reserve Bank unit to give to her child after she had given birth. She had also given a letter, and this would be given to the child once she started questioning about her biological parents. My next item is a fetus made out of Play-Doh. This fetus helps represent her own baby, as it's the child that Dora had to give up, and this gave a change to Dora, as Dora decided to put up the baby for adoption once it was born, and gave up the idea of running away. She did leave the unit at one point of the book, but she decided to go back before she was noticed, and it shows Dora change her mind from the point where she would do anything to keep her child and live a normal life instead of having to live inside of the Reserve Bank unit until she had to give her final donation. And for my last item, it's just a book. It's a random book. This book helps represent Dora in how she's an author, and Dora is a representation of the author of the book, because Dora is also a dispensable person, just as the author had mentioned that she was a dispensable person. And there would be no use for them, and Dora would always write, and it was her occupation before having to leave into the Reserve Bank unit. And she would also write inside of the unit, but she would always erase most of the things that she wrote. And that's it.